I've got a really bad cold at the moment and I probably look and sound like absolute shit, so I apologise for that. But anyway, good morning, I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I thought I would do something a little bit different this week and talk about my uni experience. Specifically with regards to how I was able to achieve a first class honours degree when I graduated in July. Because it's November now and the new university term will have been going on for about a month, so if you're in first year, you're probably just recovering from freshers flu. If you're in third year, you're probably massively stressing trying to juggle a part-time job and your university work, and you're probably also recovering from freshers flu. And if you're in second year, then f you, you're in second year, it's absolutely great, you're probably having a brilliant time, it's the best year. And just as a sort of caveat to this, I would probably say that my main bit of advice if you want to get a first is to disregard anything that I'm about to say, because we all work and respond differently to academic stress, and we all have different ways of studying. These are just a few things that I learned during my 3 years at uni, and things that I definitely feel contributed to me being able to get a first. Also, I did a BSc in music technology, so this advice is probably completely useless to anyone doing a real subject. I really hope that I don't come across as condescending at all in this video, because one of my friends pointed out when I was kind of making some notes on it earlier that I might come across as condescending. Probably doesn't help that I've got a bit of a posh voice, so I apologise, I'm genuinely not trying to be condescending at all, and these are just some things that I found helpful. So the first thing I would say if you want to get a first at university is you have to want it for the right reasons. And that reason can literally be as simple as, I want to do the best that I can possibly do, and that's completely fair enough. I mean, no one enters a race hoping to get bronze medal. But you've got to really, really want it, and you've got to have something that's more motivation than just, it would be nice if I did well, to actually kind of push you to do all of the work that's going to be required of you. Point number 2 would be, don't underestimate the value of smaller projects and smaller modules and how much that can affect your mark. Now, this won't be the same everywhere, but in the UK, in most universities as far as I'm aware, the way that your final mark is assessed is it's worked out as an average across all of the marks that you receive in your third year. In my university, 2 marks were generated. One of them was the entire of your third year as an average, and the second one was the whole of your third year as well as 3 modules from your second year. Whichever one of those averages gave you the highest overall percentage was the mark that you graduate with. But it's really important to remember that it's all about averages, and it's much easier to push your mark up a little bit when it's all been at a fairly consistent level here, than if throughout the year your marks are up and down all over the place, and it's kind of harder to work out what you actually need to get to push everything up to be a first. And the smaller projects that you'll have within modules can make that difference between it being this and this. For example, for one of my modules in third year, everything was worth 30% except one of them, which was only worth 10%. But if I hadn't put the same amount of effort into that 10% section as I did to the 30% sections, I wouldn't have got a first. Point number 3, very similar to the last one, is just try and be as consistent as possible. Especially in your work ethic, it's so easy to be complacent when you're in your first year, for example, and you know that none of the marks that you get there are going to be reflected in your final graduating results. And we've all done it. I did this a few times in first year, where you think, well, I only need to get 40% to pass, so it doesn't really matter, I'll be absolutely fine, I'll just do that. And you can get away with it to an extent in first year, but you really want to set yourself up so you're used to working to a certain standard, and especially when you get into second year and third year, because those results do actually count. For example, if you have a bad year in third year for whatever reason, and they have to pull some of your marks from second year in to make that average, then you want those marks in second year to be really, really good to try and bring it up. Point number 4, a bit of a weird one, but if you have annoying lecturers and things that you think are unfair, it's fine to be annoyed about them, but please don't put loads of emotional energy into getting angry about the injustice of uni systems. If one of your lecturers is a massive dick, just keep your head down, get on with the work, and don't give them any reason to be more of a dick than they already are to you. I'm not saying that if something really, really shitty happens, you should just kind of lie back and take it and not make a fuss. No system is perfect, and at uni, I was certainly surprised at how many just shit people who are in quite high positions there were. If you want to improve the uni system you've got, go down that road, but if you want to get a first, just stop thinking about it and do the work as best you can. Point number 5 is always keep on top of your marks and know what you've got so you know what you're aiming for. In my third year, I used an Excel spreadsheet that my housemate designed because I'm absolutely terrible at formatting these things. But in this spreadsheet, there were 2 workbooks, one of which for my third year results and the other for my third year mixed with my second year results, so I could see exactly which one was giving me the higher average. Whenever I got a mark through, I would put it into this just so I knew where I was. If you know that you're averaging 68, but you really need to be averaging 70, 71 to get that first, then it just helps having that in front of you in a really easy to understand format. Point number 6, prioritize your time intelligently. You should be spending less time on the subjects that you're already very good at and more time on the ones that you suck at. For example, I've always been relatively competent in things like music theory and composition, so I wouldn't absolutely kill myself with those assignments. You know, I wouldn't spend weeks and weeks on something that I could get done in a few days. But I struggled absolutely loads with music law modules that we had, as well as electronics modules, because I didn't even do physics GCSE, and I've always been shit at maths, so this was like really new new territory for me. I would put that extra bit of effort into the subjects that I needed to while still maintaining a good work ethic on all of the other ones as well. Point 7, expect to work hard because you fucking will. Now, there's a common saying at university that you can either choose to have a first or a social life. That's bollocks. I love going out and getting drunk. I went out a lot at university, and I'd say I have a pretty active social life. And in my 3rd year, I also sang in the BBC National Chorus of Wales, which was like rehearsals 2 times a week and concerts every now and then. And I also did this YouTube thing, you know, I'd make a YouTube video every week. And I managed to get a first. I mean, obviously it does help that I was doing music technology and not maths at Cambridge, but whatever. You can go out and you can have a social life as well, but you have to take the responsibility of knowing that the more you go out, the more work you're going to have to do and the harder you're going to have to do it. Do not underestimate the workload. And if you find that you're going out a certain amount and you're actually really struggling to get the grades that will allow you to get a first, then go out less. And always remember that every time you're going out, you're going to have to work that bit harder the next day, but expect to be tired, expect to be stressed, expect to pull grisly all-nighters where you drink loads of coffee and sometimes you don't even have the time to go outside for a quick fag break. No, I'm joking, there's always time for a fag break. But that kind of brings me on to my final point, number 8, which is just don't kill yourself. You're going to be stressed and you're going to be tired, but there's a very, very fine line between being healthily stressed and getting your work done and putting yourself into a potentially very harmful position, not just academically, but for your mental health as well. It's the most important thing that you've got at university is your physical health and your mental health. No amount of prestige that you want to get from a few letters on a certificate that comes at a price of like £30,000 is worth your mental health or your physical health. Those are more important than your degree. And if you find yourself spiraling down into a horrible combination of stress and anxiety, panic attacks, depression, as a result of working so hard and trying so hard at university, then you really, really need to just take a time out for yourself. And that can literally be as simple as just, instead of pulling that all-nighter, saying, you know what, I'm actually going to go to bed at midnight tonight and I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and have a coffee and continue working then. Because that will always stand you in a better position. Because even if you lose, 1 or 2% on a particular paper, if you're healthy and in a good place up here, you'll have a much better chance of regaining those percent in your other work than if you force yourself to basically crash and burn out for the sake of that one project, which will affect everything else really badly. If you end up having a breakdown in a really bad period at uni, it's going to affect all of your academic work. It will be hard work and it will be stressful, but the important thing to remember is to be hard on yourself in terms of your work ethic. Don't accept a low standard of work ethic, but be kind to yourself mentally. A first is great, but being happy, healthy, and most importantly, alive is better. And also do all of the obvious things, like go to your lectures and do your reading. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you that you need to go to every single lecture if you want to get a first, because I didn't go to every single lecture. I didn't study and read everything that was on the reading list, but the more of that stuff that you do, the better your chances will be in general. So just, do things that will help you. And don't buy a PlayStation 4 5 months before your final major project is due in. Anyway, that is my advice to people who have decided that they want to get a first. And like I said, the main thing is to really want it and want it for the right reasons. I wanted to get a first, not because of any kind of academic prowess that it would give me. I wanted to prove to my parents that I could do something well and really, really excel at it. Because when I was a teenager, I was a little shit and I got really good GCSE results and then really bad AS and A-level results because I decided that I didn't care about education anymore. All of my school reports just basically said that I had lots of potential and I was wasting it all. So that's why I wanted to get a first, and I do genuinely think that if I didn't have that special motivation, then I wouldn't have done it. So yeah, I hope that you found this video interesting or informative or helpful in one way or another, and I hope I haven't come across as condescending or pretentious at all. I really, really hope I haven't. Let me know what you think, and if you have any tips or bits of advice for people who are currently in education, things that can just help them push themselves above that boundary into achieving something really special. Just let me know what you think are good things for people to do at university or at any level of education. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you've enjoyed this, and I again apologize for looking and sounding like such a state. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will see you very soon.